Captain on Bridge.
Hello, welcome to Honkai Impact 3rd. This is a game by Hoyoverse. It's a gacha action game that was released before Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, which have some similarities in characters and design. But even with those similarities, this game stands out as its own. The combat alone is very enjoyable, super fast-paced, flashy, and the emotional storytelling goes beyond simple character designs and archetypes. And despite being the oldest of the three, it actually has been getting constant updates, with the most recent being a large type update, kind of similar to an expansion in Honkai Impact 3rd Part 2. Now when I first heard of this, I honestly thought it was going to be a separate game, but they ended up just stacking it on top of the previous existing Honkai Impact 3rd, so it ended up being like a 2-for-1. And after trying both of them for myself, this honestly ended up becoming one of my favorite games, not just for the story and the characters, but because the combat is as fun and over the top as you'd expect it to be. And that's enough of the showcase, so let's start talking about the game. Currently we're looking at Honkai Impact 3rd, the lovely menu simulator that it is, and with the press of a button we will then transition over to Part 2, which features a different story and different main character. You can progress through each of these separately, and Part 2 characters have the unique ability to play in both versions of the game, whereas previous Honkai Impact 3rd characters can't be used in Part 2. But as Part 2 was recently released, Honkai Impact 3rd, the Part 1, is going to be where most of your time is spent anyways. Your captain level is what raises through your account and unlocks additional parts of the game, and story is going to be your main source of early EXP as well as gems, so you're going to be running through this a lot. Also, this is probably the time that I should mention I haven't actually finished the story. I made it to chapter 20. Twice, actually. I have 2 accounts. The reason is I tried this game out quite a bit earlier, and I got pretty far, unlocked some really cool Valkyries, had a good old time, and then I found out that Fuhua exists, and I found out that another version of Fuhua exists, and I also found out that a version of that version of Fuhua exists, and now here we are, with the version of Fuhua and the version of Fuhua, and their weapon, and their stigmata, and, you know, here we are. I'm normal. But compared to a lot of the humans in the story, I'm actually pretty good. Long story short, there's an entity phenomena that started manifesting in the world called Honkai, or deemed Honkai. And this entity pretty much has one goal, and that's to eradicate humanity. It shows up both in areas as well as in individual people. The people that end up getting affected turn into zombies or beasts, and on a super rare occasion, a very strong host will be infected and turned into a godly-like destruction being known as Hershers. Video totally not related. So the Honkai is an entity or phenomenon that is basically completely hell-bent on destroying all of humanity, and no one really knows where it came from or why it started manifesting, only that it is bad. And as Hersher after another started to form, humanity was pretty much on the brink of destruction, in which they had a brilliant idea of injecting people with Honkai for the future of our race. Which sounds way better than the actual experiments where they forcefully injected Honkai into young women and hopefully they survived in order to gain extra powers and turn into Valkyries. And I know what you're thinking, why only women? Well, this is a gacha game, and apparently the men just couldn't take the Honkai virus, so here we go. It wasn't all that bad though. Some of the older Valkyries actually banded together and created a school for young Valkyries to go to have a more normal life as opposed to just being in a lab. And that's pretty much all the information you get or should know as soon as you start the game. Alrighty, assuming you made it this far in the video, you probably actually want to play the game. So, it's a little complicated with all the menus, but I'm going to do my best to walk you through, so you'll be ready to start and have the best time in this game possible. First up, we have pop-ups. These are kind of little things that'll just show up when you first enter the game. Some of them are sign-in rewards, and some of them aren't. Anytime you see claim, simply hit claim and you'll get a reward based off of whatever day it is. And then you'll get other ones that do not say claim. Whenever you see don't say claim, you exit. Of course, if you'd like to spend money, that's on you. Just keep in mind this is a gacha game and they do have predatory tactics. But with all that being said, let's get into the actual gameplay. Alrighty, from the beginning you have your rights and your lefts. Right is things to do with the game. Left is stores and events to do with the game, including a battle pass and other things, but we're gonna keep it moving. Okay, you click on attack, right? And then you get this recommended tab. This is basically just the content you can do. It's some available stuff, some weekly things, some daily things, and then some. So if you're just looking to dailies, use your characters, it's probably your recommended. Now, if you want to progress the story, you're gonna have to go to start and you click on story. The story is chapter based. There is also side stories, as well as part 2 story, which is obviously completely separate. For the standard story, it goes pretty far and pretty long, honestly. Like I said, I haven't even finished it myself. I'm on chapter 20, so we're gonna get to that as soon as this video is done, hopefully. The next thing you need to know is that story is pretty much non-related to the gacha. Early on, you're going to have to use some characters that they give you, so these are my characters, right? I could put them in with any other characters that I have, but that's only for the first couple of chapters. You'll see quickly that whenever I go to, like, let's say a further chapter, like let's say even chapter like this chapter, when I click on this, it's gonna give me a trial character, and I can only use this trial character, meaning that, well, I don't have to use any of my other characters. So if you're just here to enjoy the story, have a good time, you don't have to interact with the gacha whatsoever. And as you progress even more into the story, you end up with these own separate chapters which have their own in-chapter characters as well as gear and weapons. So for example, these characters are not mine. They are only available in this chapter, and they are only upgraded by completing certain levels in this chapter. So for there are even challenge levels that you need to do, so EX ones, and as you can see, they'll give you these things, which are the items to upgrade your characters in this chapter. So like I said, these are in-chapter characters and variety, so you don't always have to use the same trial character that they give you. They actually make it a lot more outgoing and expressive later on, as you just are able to use more. Finally, as you go beyond, once you reach certain points, you'll end up with these style of chapters. Similar ways where they have their own story. And the characters are almost like an RPG, where you get access to characters and you're able to level them up through in-chapter credits. So it's a little bit different than the other version, but it still functions the same, where you can select, equip, and customize your character within the chapter. Like I said, very fun if you're not interested in the gacha and just want to experience the story and the characters. Let's start once again back at the beginning, and we're going to go over to supply. This is gacha. As you can tell, this is top up, crystals, same thing, primo gems, it's all the same. Now we head over to supply. Gacha in this game is a little different than the other ones because the standard or the event banners only feature really one character. This is the current battlesuit supply, so this is the current event banner S rank. Deep Space Anchor, First Light. It's funny, there's a little thing there. But yeah, it's Senadina. And as you can tell, she is the only S rank available in this banner. So if I pull and I pull an S rank, it will be her. There's no 50-50s, no losses, no maybes, nothing like that. This is the character you're gonna get if you pull and reach pity, or if you pull and get lucky. In addition, the same thing goes for equipment supply. The only things that will drop from here are her weapon. Anytime you see this purple weapon, it will be hers, and anytime you see these stigmatas, it will be hers as well, which is very, very useful. So like I said, you can be a lot more deliberate with the characters that you want to get in this game, if you plan to. If not, like I said, don't even worry about it. Who cares about the gacha? Just play the story. And the final banner in these is going to be the dorm supply. So this is the RNG supply. This is where like everything is put into. This is your standard banner. And if I can see the album, these are all the characters that are available in the banner, at least for the S ranks. So as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of them, and I have quite a bit of them as well. The great thing about this banner is the first 2 S ranks are within 25 pulls, so your pity is 25. If you pull 25 times, you will get an S rank, and if you pull another 25 times, you will also get an S rank. Once you obtain both of your 25 S ranks, it then goes to the standard pity of being 100. There's also a pretty high chance of getting a new Valkyrie that you don't have, so it's great for collection if you're planning to get all of them. And I think we'll leave that there. This is just some daily gameplay that I have going in the background. If you're interested in the game, I highly recommend trying it, either for the story or the gacha aspect. I think the gameplay is really fun. Characters feel super, super unique when you use them. And overall, it's just kind of a very enjoyable little thing you can always keep up with. That's kind of why I enjoy a lot of the gacha games. They're not something you have to do every day, but they do give you something to do every day, which is, you know, just fun for me. Just a little, you know, 2 minutes, well, not 2 minutes, like 20 minutes here and there, you know? But, yeah. The next video will be some daily running, and I'm going to try to catch up to the story, like revisit all the story parts that I may have forgotten, and then after that, we will actually continue the main story. So, that'll be fun. In addition, we got Wuthering Waves coming up. I need to catch up on Honkai Star Rail, and Final Fantasy XIV is coming out in a month. It's going to be really, really enjoyable for a game, so can't wait for that. With all that being said, though, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Bye!